During the time of Passover, there's a Jewish tradition where parents would go through their house and they would leave leaven or yeast in different places for their children to come and clean up later, as a symbol of removing all of the things that were undesirable from our lives. It's actually where we get the concept of spring cleaning from, where we go through our garage or our house and get rid of all the stuff that we don't need.
Throughout the Bible, we find a similar concept when it comes to leaven. So many times it represents sin, or as Paul even states, the leaven of malice and wickedness. And even throughout most of the Bible, we find that it depicts leaven in a negative way. But Jesus here uses it in a different way. Matthew chapter 13, verse 33 says the following: He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, that a woman took and hid in 3 measures of flour until it was all leavened.
Here, leaven isn't used to describe anything bad or sin. So why leaven? Why yeast? Well, yeast is very important to the baking process. In fact, it's obvious if your dough doesn't have the yeast in it. But once that is put into the dough, the change is very visible. So too, the grace of Christ must be in the life of the believer, or else we will never be fitted for the kingdom of heaven.
When leaven is mixed with the meal, the change begins from the inward to the outward. And it's the same way when God, by His grace, changes our very own lives. There's no external change that we can ever do that will be sufficient enough to bring us in harmony with God. There are many who do try to change, this habit or that habit in the hopes that they'll be true Christians, but they are beginning in the wrong place. True change can only happen when it starts in the heart. And it's this renewing energy that comes from God, and that can only be done with the help of the Holy Spirit.
I want to invite you to look at your heart. Look deep into where your hidden secrets lie, the things that would hold you down, discourage you, trap you. The grace of God in our heart can change all of that. It can give us the power to be transformed. But it's a process just like the leaven, and it takes time. So don't let anyone and don't let yourself discourage you. If we allow the Holy Spirit to work in our lives just like that leaven, a complete transformation can happen where you and I will be transformed into the very image of God.